Hello everybody, welcome to the aoe2 AI scripting tutorial number 9. In this tutorial we will go over the quiz question 1, then we will see what timers are all about, part 1 about goals used as strategy level, which is used with level 2 programming. We will look at Blacksmith, military and ecotech researches. We will also have a look at training military units and attacking with method 1, attack now. And then we will debug and watch again. For future aoe2 AI scripting tutorials, we have an upcoming special for the tutorial number 10, expected on Saturday, August the 1st. Afterwards, we will have tutorials number 11, 12 and 13, which will be about goals part 2, part 3, part 4, using goals as facts, as variables, and comparing goals, of course in combination with other stuff like in this tutorial we are going to see quite a lot. This is the agenda for this video. We will start with quiz question number 1. If you recall, last video a question was asked, give an example to demonstrate the difference between these two facts. Email or Discord me before July the 4th. But apparently this is a hard question because nobody has answered yet. So I will do a one-time extension of this quiz question 1 and postpone it to tutorial video number 10, the special, which everybody will be watching. So if you want your name or A-list to be shown in this special, please answer this question before August the 1st. We will immediately continue with B, timers, which is level 1 programming. We have the possibility to create timers in aoe2. There is one timer fact in level 1 programming, timer triggered, and 2 timer actions in level 1 programming, namely enable timer and disable timer. Now it is more or less self-explanatory what this means, but we are going to have a look at the strategy builder guide to see what the explanation is. So we will start with the fact timer trigger. Timer triggered. This fact checks whether a given timer has triggered. For disabled timers, this fact is always false. The check can be performed any number of times until the timer is explicitly disabled. Then we have enable and disable timer as actions. Enable timer. This action enables a given timer and sets it to the given time interval. It should state seconds after here. Disable timer. This action disables the given timer. Okay. So we can initialize a timer with a def rule which is true. Enable timer 1, which will trigger in 1 second. That's the second one. Disable self, otherwise it will keep re-enabling the timer for 1 second. And then after 1 second, the timer will trigger. We can test this with the fact timer triggered 1 because it's timer number 1. After the timer is triggered, we could disable the timer, that this def rule doesn't get triggered constantly. We chat to all I love this game, and then we enable timer 1 again for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. When it will be triggered again, disabled, it will chat I love this game every 10 minutes and re-enable, and so forth. Of course, this is a bit hard to follow, and if you remember in a previous tutorial video, we can use constants for clarity. So we def const and we call it timer love game, which is timer 1, and this will make it much more clear. Def rule true, enable timer love game 1 second, disable self, timer triggered timer love game. So when this is true after 1 second the first time, it will disable the timer love game, chat to all I love this game, and then re-enable the timer love game for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. Another timer example is, for instance, if we want to build a mining camp every 10 minutes. Now, it is not the best strategy nor the best way of programming mines. These are examples to understand the code. So we def const a second timer called timer mining camp. The def rule to initialize the timer mining camp is when we have at least one mining camp, we will enable a timer mining camp for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. Chat to player, my player number. First mining camp is built, next mining camp in around 10 minutes. Disable self, because we don't want this to constantly trigger. But after 10 minutes, the timer will be triggered for the timer mining camp. It will check, can we build a mining camp? It will then disable the timer mining camp, build a mining camp, and then enable again the timer for timer mining camp, that the next one will be built in 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. It will then chat to us, building mining camp, next mining camp in around 10 minutes. It is best we disable the timer, build a camp, then re-enable the timer, because if we don't disable the timer might stay triggered and it will keep building mining camps instead of building one every 10 minutes, which is the purpose of this example. We will go to section C, goals. Goals can be used for strategy and personality triggers. This we will have a look at in goals part 1 in this video, which will use level 2 programming. But goals can also be used to store facts, which will be explained in part 2, and as variables with the possibility for calculations, which we will see in part number 3. This will require level 4 programming. We will start with goals part 1. Goals used as strategy, which uses level 2 programming. Level 2 programming, there is a goal fact. Goal checks a goal ID and then a value, and then there's a goal action. You set a goal of a certain goal ID to a certain value. We will check this in the strategy guide. Goal ID value. This fact checks what the given goal is. And then we will check the action. Set goal. This action sets a given goal to a given value. Seems easy enough. So, first we make some constants. We make a constant goal feudal strat is our first goal, and we declare some constants. Archer rush 1, def const, scout rush is 2, fast castle is 3. Def rule no, we saw this in a previous tutorial video. If we aren't Huns or Chinese, we want the goal set that our feudal strategy is a fast castle. Chat to player, myself, my strategy is fast castle, and disable self. If we are the Huns, we want the goal to be set to scout rush. My strategy is a scout rush, disable self. If we are the Chinese, we want the goal to be set to an archer rush. Chat to player, my player number, my strategy is archer rush, disable self. Now I have used immediately the constants declaration to make it a lot more clearer. Depending on our goal, and this is the personality or strategy level, we make a def rule goal feudal strat archer rush, can build archery range, building type count total, archery range is smaller than 2, build an archery range. This means we will build 2 archery ranges if the goal feudal strat is set to archer rush. If the goal is set to scout rush and we can build stables, it will build 2 stables. If the goal is set to fast castle, it will build 1 market. In any case, it will build 1 blacksmith. This won't work, which we will see later in debugging why not. It's something extremely subtle. This is what it would look like if you would not declare constants for the goal or for the strategies. It starts to become unreadable. Set goal 1-3, set goal 1-2, set goal 1-1, goal 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and so forth. It's much more difficult to read than if we have this. We know which goal we're talking about, and we know which strategy we are talking about. That's why it's always good to declare the constants like we were taught in a previous tutorial video. Okay, we're moving on fast. We go to Blacksmith, Military and Ecotech Researches. The syntax, as we know, is def rule with 1 or more facts, can research a tech, and research the tech. The hard part is choosing the correct facts. So what do we want to program now? We want double bit axe and horse collar if we're not going for the strategy fast castle. And we want blacksmith and military text for military units. So first we'll start double bit axe and horse collar if not going fast castle. So with the goal, that's easy. The goal is not allowed to be fast castle. We will put in an extra fact that the food amount has to be greater or equal to 150. Where does this amount 150 comes from? Well, double bit axe costs 100 food, and we want to be sure that we have enough food to continuously produce villagers, and a villager costs 50 food in most cases. So that's why we program food amount is greater than or equal to 150. Can research re double bit axe? Research re double bit axe. Def rule not goal feudal strat fast castle. Food amount is greater than 125. Why 125? The same. Horse collar costs 75 food plus 50 for the villager. We want to be sure that we continuously produce villagers. We also want to check research completed redouble bit axe. Once this research is completed, then we want it to research horse collar. In the future we will see how we can research horse collar earlier once the double bit axe research has been clicked, so to speak, but by using up research status, which is level 4 programming. I'm just mentioning it here if you do want to look into that, but we will come back to this in the future. Can research re-horse collar, research re-horse collar. For the blacksmith and military text for military units, we're going to limit ourselves to the archer rush by way of example. So we check first unit type count total archery class is greater than 0. Can research re-fletching. Food amount is greater than 150 for the villages, not to forget. Research re-fletching. We could also have put the goal in here. Goal GL feudal strat archer rush, for instance. I'll just type that. So that's also a possibility, but I wanted to put this in also by way of example. We declare a third timer called timer attack. That's our third timer, that's why it's number 3. Unit type count total archery class is greater than 0. Can a research padded archer armor. Research completed. Fletching, again, there's a level 4 programming command to do this, but usually you have one blacksmith, so in this case level 2 programming will suffice. Check that we have enough food for both the research as the villagers. Research the padded archer armor, but also enable timer attack, because we know the archer techs are researched, and we want to enable the attack. Training military and attacking with method 1 attack now. A new def rule. Can train archer line. Unit type count total archer line is smaller than 30. Game time smaller than 2400, which is 40 minutes. So a long time to execute an archer rush, but again this is an example. And train archer line. Unit type count archer line is greater or equal to 12, and timer triggered timer attack. Why does that timer has to be triggered? Then we know that the researches are completed. We could have also put in here research completed fletching, research completed padded archer armor, but we're doing it this way. Timer trigger timer attack. We disable the timer attack. We attack now. The AI will initiate an attack, and then we enable the timer attack for 180 seconds or 3 minutes. Why? Because we want to send archers in continuous waves, as to speak, but we don't want this attack now to trigger constantly, as this will lead to targeting problems of your military units. It leads to a confusement. So enabling a timer which triggers an attack now every 3 minutes, if the condition that we have 12 archers are met is reached, then it will send every 3 minutes a new wave of archers. The archers which are already attacking might retarget, but they won't retarget constantly and bug, and in reality then not shoot at anything, or it might lead to that if you constantly reiterate attack now. Also, I nearly forgot to mention, constantly reiterating the attack now command, certainly with a lot of military units, will max out CPU usage because of all the targeting operations that go on behind the scenes. So we will program this and we will watch the game. Of course, probably some debugging will be necessary. So now we will test our tutorial AI. We will choose the civilization Chinese as we have programmed the archer rush. As opponent we put practice AI because practice AI doesn't do anything. Team 1-2 Arabia on tiny, difficulty hard, so there's no advantages nor nerfs for an AI, and all the rest standard victory conquest. We have to first start debugging. Line 196, error invalid identifier archery class. So we go to our script. 196 unit type count archery class invalid identifier. This is because we have been a bit messy with defining our constants. Remember, in a previous video I mentioned that it's best to declare all constants on forehand to avoid bugs. We haven't been doing this for archery class, fletching, for buildings and so forth. Archery class is one of those constants that need to be defined to be able to use in this case. As we have saw also in a previous video, we can look up the ID of archery class, which is 900. Define archery class 900, save, and click OK. Restart the game. Invalid keyword disable self, line 296. Okay, we're going to see what that is all about. 296 is here. Invalid keyword disable self. And what is wrong? Something with the bracket. Okay, I will stand here at the beginning of the def roll and I see here is a double bracket put by mistake, so we will delete this bracket. This closes the def roll. It is one of the reasons why it's handy to to view a def rule in this sense. You can put the bracket behind, but what happened is we probably programmed the def rule with this, close it with a double bracket, and then remember afterwards, we have to put the disable self in and close that with a double bracket, and forgetting to delete this bracket here. By putting a bracket in this manner, it's more overviewable. This is an advice, you don't have to do this, but you see it leads to bugs if not careful. So we correct that, we restart. Another bug, line 370. Isn't this getting frustrating? All part of the programming. So 370, there's something wrong with this line. Can train archer line, unit type can total smaller than 30, and so on. But I've been a bit too quick. I forgot to put archer line here. Unit type can total, archer line smaller than 30. Save and restart. My strategy is archer rush, found livestock, stop exploring with villagers, and I love this game, which it will say every 10 minutes. So now we are viewing the game with the programming that we have programmed up to now, without chatting all the data. It's found forest bushes, so it's building a mill like we programmed in a previous tutorial video. It has now built a lumber camp, and if I remember correctly in our programming, once it has built a lumber camp, then it will start making farms. First mining camp built, next mining camp in around 10 minutes. And I think we have found the enemy. We have now arrived in feudal age. It is building a blacksmith, an extra house like we programmed. It continues building farms, but I can't see it building any archery ranges here. This is another bug. We pause it and we go back to the drawing board. As I said, here it won't work. See debugging. We have debugged the archery class 900, the faulty brackets, and the archer line that we forgot to say. It's not building an archery range. Why is this? we can check all of our code. Is the strategy set up correctly? It did say that we were having an archer rush. Did we program the archery ranges correctly? We can start looking. Looks all fine to me. So what did we do wrong? Well, we've forgotten something very sillily. We can break our heads over why not. And this is part of the debugging. This is why I'm stressing it so much, because sometimes it's so silly. You can be looking ages for what the problem is. Look at strategic numbers and whatever. And then you suddenly realize, damn, I forgot to program to build a barracks. Of course, without a barracks it won't build an archery range or a stable. So we put this coding, def rule, and it's either when the goal feudal strat archer rush or feudal strat scout rush is activated, and we can build a barracks, and we don't have any barracks yet. And this a civilian population is greater than equal to 20, because we don't want to waste our wood on barracks too early in the game. Then we want to build the barracks. So we program this code in. I've already done this, and unfortunately we have to restart the game. This time it's building a barracks. We have reached feudal. It's building an archery range. And a blacksmith. Notice it will only build one archery range at a time. Once the first archery range is built, it will or should start building a second archery range, which it's doing over here. And you can see it's starting to train archers. Also, it's researching fletching and padded archer armor. In the meanwhile, we have found the enemy. Our scout continues to scout, while its scout hits a few times our scout. So we programmed that once we got 12 archers, it will attack. We've got 4. It's building another mining camp. Here next to the stone. We've got 11 archers. 12 archers and 9 of them jump into action. That's because of a strategic number. This way will take quite a while. In the end, we will win.